Khan here for SecondsOut with unified world champion Lauren Price MBE. Lauren, good to see you. Hopefully you're not too talked out with all the media that you've done, but how's life treating you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Batteries recharged, just come back from Mexico after the fight, so, ready to get back into camp now and looking for the next big thing.
I saw earlier you had some lunch with the talented, well, maybe talented Joe Brett. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen the...
saying that, he's in the room.
Well, I've not seen the talent materialise just yet, but I'm very much assured that he is a talented fella. But I wonder if hamburgers were on the menu, Lauren.
They were. I had a BLT sandwich, and the choice was salad or fries. I went for fries. Diet starts tomorrow, so yeah, Joe treated me at the Shard.
That's in reference, of course, to Claressa Shields' recent call out of yourself. She's very much welcoming challenges. She was impressed by your last outing against Natasha Jonas. I think maybe you might have earned another level of respect from her. I don't know if that was particularly something you were looking for, but I remember a previous interview, she said she'll fight you and Jonas on the same night. Now she's saying, look, I want the challenge from yourself. Do you, or have you pictured yourself in the ring with Claressa Shields from the infancy of your pro career to now being maybe a little bit closer?
Yeah, definitely. It's probably come from my amateur days, if I'm honest. We've both won Olympic gold. She's double Olympic champion at middleweight. I won, obviously, gold in Tokyo at middleweight. And I think it's a fight that I've always had in the back of my mind later on in my career, when I've kind of, looked at, I want to become undisputed at 147. I want to become a multi-weight world champion. And that's defo, a fight that's always been on the cards for me. She's someone who I respect. I think she's a great fighter. And yeah, definitely. Like I said, my main focus at the minute is, becoming undisputed. But that's a great fight for the, she's a massive name, massive star. A fight that I believe I can win as well. And it's great for, boxing.
Do you feel you've encountered anything close to her style, either in the amateur game or the pro game so far?
I think when you look at it and you look at the females, I think the two closest to me with speed and style is probably Shields and Katie Taylor. When I look at Shields got fast hands like me, and Katie Taylor, she got fast feet and fast hands like me, and I think there's very few elite fighters who can do that. So I think, it'll be a great fight. And yeah, probably not, she'd definitely be the toughest test of my career going into that fight.
How big do you feel the difference in gap of skills she is to your other opponents that you faced so far, or the ones that you feel, or the ones that you want to encounter en route to the titles you want to capture?
Oh, I feel like, we're on the same level as each other, if I'm honest. When I've been speaking about my previous fights, and I'm like, I feel like I'm a level above, which I have proven. And I suppose I've had it quite comfortable so far, if you could say that. That is a fight, obviously, definitely, which, is a great fight. I still believe that I will win, but it's a tough fight, and, no disrespect to Shields. I know, obviously, how good she is.
She made the news recently, not for anything in the ring, but outside the ring. I don't know if you saw the little bit of the gym back and forth. I'm going to ask you, I've got it played here, I'm going to ask you to weigh in and judge who you think is in the right or the wrong. So if you'd like to have a little watch of this, Lauren, okay, and let me know what you think. You can pull the volume up if you want as well. It's on there. Here we go.
How can you hear me? You have your headphones. I am over here winning, baby.
These headphones. Do you mind if you use headphones?
What do you mean?
Because you're really loud.
How can you hear me? You have your headphones.
I have my headphones, and I still hear you.
So you don't want me to talk? I'm still going to be able to
It's not
talk.
that. I'm just asking kindly if you could use your headphones.
What, do you hear my voice? You still don't hear my voice?
And her voice.
I'm her.
Okay.
You don't hear nobody's voice but mine.
Okay.
I don't know how you hear me. You got his headphones on. You want me to speak lower? I don't know what's wrong with people. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyways, like I was saying, this is my third day back working out. my birthday shoot in a couple days. As you guys can see. Right. I don't know what that was about. But as you can see, my stomach is fat as shit. I think he was happy. I'm trying to keep my composure. I don't want to piss me off though. Anyways. Back to what I was talking about. I forgot. He said he's able to hear y'all too. That's what he was saying. He said he could hear y'all.
So the context is she was at the gym on the Instagram live,
Yeah.
and she was talking to her followers. A gentleman to the right or left of her was running on the machine, but felt he was being distracted by Claressa, who was speaking to her followers, and asked her to put the headphones in to speak to him. Who's in the right or who's in the wrong there?
Oh, I mean, you could just tell him to turn his music up, couldn't you? Personally. Like, she's in her own lane, she's on her running machine, she's not really doing anything to distract him. So, yeah, I don't think she's done anything wrong.
It's interesting because Savannah, when she fought Claressa, they became sort of frenemies, but enemies in the context of the fight, of course, and the respect was definitely there. But would you go into a fight with Claressa in the same sort of way where you feel that you might end up disliking her, or would you take any emotion out of it?
I'm not that kind of person. You know, there's never any bad blood. I respect everyone who gets in the ring with me. I believe in myself, and I will say, you know, I believe I'm going to win. This is what I think, A, B, and C. Like I did with Jonas, I said, you know, I was too young, too quick, too good. And that's, you know, everything I say, I believe. And I think a fight like that with two elite fighters, you don't have to trash talk because the fight sells itself. You know, it'd be a massive fight. It could be a stadium fight. It could be unbelievable. So, yeah, it could sell without, you know, trash talking or trying to get under each other's skin. And that's it.
You had a little bit of experience of that, not so much with Jonas, a little bit to a degree. There was that whole Becky Price thing, which you handled really well. But also with Joe on Fight Week, yourself and Rob McCracken seem to have dealt with that back and forth really well. I wonder, did you have a conversation with Rob, either pre or post, saying that, knowing that that would kind of come into the mix in that Fight Week?
Yeah, I did. And, you know, I'm not kind one to, you know, rise to it. And I think everyone's seen throughout Fight Week, Joe was trying to do everything he could do to try and, you know, get me off my game. He even said, you know, the scales were wrong when Jonas weighed in heavier than me. So, yeah, you know, people, you know, do everything they can, I suppose, when they're in boxing. Like, at the end of the day, he's just looking after Jonas and doing what he thinks is best. But regardless of any noise, good or bad, same with comments, same with people's opinions, it doesn't matter. It's how, you know, you believe in yourself, what works well for you, you know, listen to your team, keep your circle small, and that's all that matters.
How did you feel coming out of the fight with Lauren Price? With Natasha Jonas, my bad. Did you expect anything more from her? Did you feel like you got the finger on the pulse of what she was going to bring to the ring? Obviously, you won that fight very clearly, but were you expecting anything different from her?
I thought, with no disrespect, I thought it'd be a little bit harder than what it was, if I'm honest, but I think my speed, my angles, and like obviously my movement and stuff like that probably threw her a little bit. You know, it's hard, isn't it? Like, and I don't mean to sound big-headed or cocky when I say this, but a lot of people say, oh, they're going to do this, going to do that. But when I'm in front of them and I box and I start feinting and I use my speed and my skill, it's very hard to get at me. And I think in boxing, you got to be able to box, but you also got to be able to fight. You know, you can't be good at one or, you know, the other. you got to do both, and I can do that. I probably fought a little bit more with Mikaela because she was a bit more raw and she come at me, whereas I think, you know, with Jonas, she knew obviously a counter puncher as well for myself, so if she kind of come at me, I would have got my counters off more and probably threw more. But yeah, you know, I done what I had to do, and I was happy with my performance. Rob was happy with my performance, you know, going back and forth after each round. Yeah, and that was it.
There's only one belt you need to collect to become undisputed. That's currently held by Mikaela Mayer. She recently defended that for the second time against Sandy Ryan. Yeah. What was your read on that fight and Mikaela Mayer as a person that might be in the opposite corner to you very soon?
Yeah, I thought she performed very well. She started fast. She put it on Sandy. You know, she worked well on the inside, which, you know, she does as well. She's good on the inside. And yeah, she broke Sandy down. Obviously, like the last 2 rounds, she got a bit tired, but which, you know, is understandable with her output. And yeah, that's the fight that I want next. It's a great fight. You know, she's a great boxer. She's great role model for, you know, in and outside the ring. And, you know, it's a fight that we both want, and I think it's going to be massive. Would
you be interested in having that fight over in America, or would you want to have it in Wales, ideally?
Obviously, like ideally, I'd love to box at home. I'd love to box in Wales. You know, we've seen with my fight in May, where I was in my career, I was, you know, sold the most tickets, and then, you know, boxing in London, I've sold 15,000 tickets. So my fan base is getting bigger, and, you know, that's in London. So to do that at home would be massive. And people are talking about, you know, Cardiff City Stadium. When she won the other day, obviously people have tagged us in posts and stuff like that, and, you know, it's gone big already. Going into Tesco's yesterday in Wales, in my own village in Ashramanach, like, people are like, oh, you and Mayer next, when's the fight happening, let me know, I'm going to come and watch. So people are already on it. Like, people are obviously, you know, it's massive for not just, you know, women's boxing, but world boxing.
There's been a recent development, and it sees that boxing will be contested at Olympics. There was some conversation that it might be pulled from the Olympics as a whole. Given your success in the amateur game, how big of a boost is that it will continue in the Olympics, and what does that mean for the ground level up?
I think it's, you know, vital for boxing to be in the Olympics. You look at everyone who's come through who's been a great, even the likes, you know, Floyd Mayweather and people like that. They all went to the Olympics. Lomachenko, Usyk, you know, and it's just the experience. There's nothing like it. The amateur tournaments you go to, you travel the world, you come across all different styles. You know, you learn how to box technically, you learn how to fight, and, you know, to go to an Olympic Games, there's no bigger pinnacle of the sport to represent your country. And for myself, no matter what I go on in the pros and do, nothing is going to beat that Olympic gold medal from, you know, having a dream at 8 years of age. So yeah, it's vital, and I'm so glad that it is in for LA. And like you said, you always see, you know, after a cycle, you see talent come through, and the next crop of Olympians come through, they turn pro, and what they do then to obviously achieve and get to the top.
Very lastly, I was having a little snoop on the Instagram just to collect my questions for the interview, and I saw that on your, I believe, social media and your webpage, you got your merchandise, and your merchandise goes by the Lucky One.
Yeah.
Why are you the Lucky One? Why is that your motto?
So nothing to do with sport, because obviously, like, I've worked hard to win again, to do, you know, people think it's to do with that, but it's actually to do with, I was brought up by my grandparents from 3 days old, and that's why I call myself the Lucky One, because, you know, I had a brother, he passed away a couple of years back, but I got 2 sisters, and obviously the life that they had and the upbringing they had, I was the youngest, and I had a lucky escape, and I had 2 people who, you know, showed me love and told me to believe in my dreams and always supported me. So if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have achieved anything. So I'm very grateful for that, and that's why I call myself the Lucky One.
Is that something you keep close to your heart and just remind yourself, I guess, every moment you step in the ring, every moment you lace up the gloves?
Yeah, definitely. You know, everyone goes through stuff in life, and that's kind of what's molded me and what's taught me like what's right from wrong, and how grateful I am to be on, you know, the path I've been on, and always being supported, like I said, to follow my dreams and being shown love and support. Whether it was from, like, you know, playing football on a Sunday up in the valleys, Aylstoning, they'd both be there with a flask of coffee, you know, cheering me on, or taking me training every night, or paying thousands for me to go to world champions kickboxing over the years. Every night I wasn't like a normal kid. I come home from school, I'd have a nap. My granddad would be taking me training. I began changing about the car to go to football training the same night from kickboxing. And it was my life. And, you know, I just fell in love with sport. And I'm lucky that, you know, I had two amazing people who supported me to spend money on me, to take me, you know, places, and, you know, pay them back with winning an Olympic gold medal.
Ever humble in your success, Lauren. Feels like a topic we can discuss maybe on another day. It's something to touch on. But thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing those big fights that you want to get as well too. Maybe even Claressa Shields. But we'll catch up again soon.
I appreciate it.